Hi fam bam, welcome back to the channel. If you're new or if you've already stopped by and watched some of my videos, thank you for coming back to listen to more. Anyways, this is the second time I'm recording this because I found out some stuff. So here we are. Take two. Anyways, just kidding. No. Delete. About when I told my parents that my uncle molested me. So my baby daddy used to always tell me that I needed to tell my family, especially my parents, that he had molested me. I didn't want to. You know, I had some problems while I was with him. Like I'd wake up with hot flashes, I'd wake up with nightmares, and certain things would affect me in our sex life. So I finally told them. So the day I had told my mom and dad, me and baby daddy were there and my parents were there. I remember, mind you guys, this took place back when I was 15, 16. I had my daughter in 1995. So I believe this was about the year of 1996 when I was 16 years old, I believe. I'm not too sure of the dates, the times when it happened, but we got down, we got off the car, and I don't know, I believe that my mom was talking about him, and I said, well, I finally ended up opening my mouth and I said, well, the guy that you guys all like and put on a pedestal, he molested me. And my dad was like, what? He's like, I'm gonna kill that son of a bleep, 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 you know? And my mom was like, what? Really? And then I was like, yes, he really did. And so I told him a little bit about the story. I didn't go into detail about what he did to me. So my mom was like, I'm gonna call my sister right now. And she goes to the phone. Well, she's going to walk to the phone to call her. And I'm like, no, please. Like, let's just keep this between you and my dad and me and baby daddy, and I don't want you calling her at all. And she was like, no, I have to, you know, this is her husband. And I just like begged her not to, but she still did anyway. So she calls my aunt, and my dad is so pissed off, and then he's like, well, that explains why you never let me hug you and stuff. And I was like, yes. And so I'm crying and stuff, and my mom goes to call my aunt, which I didn't want her to. So she calls her and she tells her everything that was going on. My aunt told her, well, she provoked him to do it if he did anything to her. She was always saying, her and my daughter used to always say that he was cute, and she was always sitting on his lap just like my daughter was and all this stuff. So my mom hangs up the phone and she's like, you probably provoked him to do what he did to you. My whole life was shattered. Now, mind you, I want to put up the video before my mom told me this and said this. When my mom told me this, I was in shock. I was disappointed. I didn't understand how mother can do this to a child or say this to a child. And I'm sorry. And my aunt as well. I was only 11 years old or 12 years old. I know that it was around when my aunt was pregnant with her second child in 1991, 92. I know she was pregnant in 1991. So she had him at 1992. So around there, she was pregnant at the time. So my mom tells me that. She says that. My aunt says the same thing. So now I have this in my head, 11 years old, he does what he does. He almost takes my virginity that night, and then he molests me, okay? So wow. I'm just like, wow, crazy, huh? So I hate my mom even more. I have anger towards her, resentment towards her. So now, knowing that my mom was so close to me when I was growing up, and to know that she didn't give a shit about me, like, it really hurt me. It hurt me, and it went through my heart like a sword was stabbing you in the heart. I don't want to cry. Sorry. I'm back. So my mom kicks me in the stomach when I'm pregnant, when I'm carrying my baby, and then this happens and she says this, right? So I hate her even more, as I had already hated her. Now I hate her even more. So I start throwing my food at her. We'd be eating at the table, and I would just throw my bowls at her. I would throw my plate of food on her, and I was hitting her, and I was punching her. I'm not saying just hitting her, I was punching her. I was hitting her like really crazy, because I didn't understand how a mother could say such a thing, okay? Because your parent, especially your mother, is like, she's the, how do I explain it? She's like, your mother is like, you have a bond with your mom, and when you're born and you come into this world and you're a girl, like, you're supposed to be able to be like her best friend, to tell her everything and anything, and for her to always provide for you, to protect you, to secure you, you know, to always defend you. Well, she wasn't that person to me anymore. So I became this ugly person. I resented her, you know, I hated her. I couldn't stand her. I couldn't talk to her, nothing. So time goes by, and I'm looking for like attention, I'm looking for love, and I don't know how to be because of how my parents were while we were growing up. You know, baby daddy treated me good. He treated me like a queen. He was nice to me. He was sweet to me. He would love me, and I just didn't know how to react. There was times where, you know, I was hitting him, and I was ugly, and I just want to let you guys know, you know, I'm not proud of what I did. I feel bad. I felt bad, you know, when I was doing it, and I apologized to baby daddy, and I told him I was sorry for everything, and he told me he forgave me. It was just hard for him because I ruined his self-esteem, and he had to rebuild it back. I'm pregnant. Oh no, I don't know. All I know is I'm pregnant. Maybe I told my parents while I was pregnant. I don't really, like I said, really remember. I try to remember all the details. But anyways, what was I gonna say? Oh, anyways, I'm pregnant, and before I have my baby, I stopped hitting my mom because I didn't want my daughter to see any of that and her hit me. So I stopped hitting my mom because I didn't want that anymore, but I still hated my mom, okay? So the hitting stopped, the food getting thrown on my mom stopped, but I still hated her. I talked to her ugly. I didn't call her on Mother's Day. I didn't get her cards on Mother's Day. I didn't get her birthday cards. Nothing like that, you know. I wasn't calling her all the time. I just hated her because what she did to me that day too, and for my aunt to say what she did too. And if you're watching, you ruined my life. Sorry, you guys. I didn't think I would cry. So anyways, after they told me this, things that I provoked my uncle to do what he did, I went around thinking and trying to go back in time and to see what I ever done wrong or what I did for him, my uncle, to do what he did to me. There was times where I would cry, and there was times where I would ask God to show me, to let me know what I did to make my uncle do what he did to me that night. And like I said, he almost took my virginity. And when I screamed, he stopped, but he still came back in to the room to finish what he started. So, like I said, I would ask God what I did for my uncle. For my uncle to do what I did. I never knew, like, what I did. You know, we always used to sit, like I said, on my dad's lap, on my grandpa's lap, on our uncle's lap, you know. We would hug them, you know. They would kiss us on our cheek. So I never understood that. But all I know is that I tried to commit suicide. So I wanted to commit suicide a few times in my life. I used to pray to God, and I would always ask him to take me, like take me in a car accident, take me however you want, just take me out of this world, you know. So I went around wanting to get out of this world. I prayed to God to take me out of this life, out of this world, you know. I didn't want to be alive anymore. I didn't want to live. I didn't understand how a mother can tell their child these things when my mom went through the same thing, but worse, when she was 15, and she didn't tell any of her family or her parents or anyone. No one knew. And she had to deal with that on her own as well. So I just didn't understand it. I started being totally different because I don't want to provoke men, you know. I don't want to provoke anybody anymore. So I made sure that I would dress conservative, you know. I would always have things covered up. So I made sure that I would dress conservative. I wasn't provoking no guy, no man, any guy, any man that's not like my husband or stuff. Like, I always make sure I hug him like this, you know, and make sure that they're on this side so my breasts aren't on them or anything like that. I never try to hug a guy like this or to put my boobs on him. I always make sure I step to the side and I hug a guy. So I won't provoke anybody. So my parents told me that, well, my mom said that, my dad hated him, my dad wanted to kill the mother effer. And I still have to deal with things with my uncle doing what he did to me. I have PTSD from it, and I struggle with it. Sometimes I can't go out to the park and walk, or I can't go to the store sometimes by myself, because if a guy's staring at me weird or wrong, I freak out. So now I'm trying to get a little bit better on that stuff too, which I have been, so which is awesome. So let me talk to you guys about my aunt getting off the phone with her and what she did. So my cousin was there that night, and she heard me screaming, and she came into the room that night, and we both cried. And she did tell me that he molested her when her mom was having the baby. And my mom found a letter in Servietta. I don't know if I had mentioned on the other video, but she had found a letter in Servietta and she was reading it, and my cousin had wrote it, and she said that her stepdad had molested one of her cousins. She didn't say my name in the letter or anything. Well, I asked my mom the other day if she remembers about the letter, and she said yes, and she said I threw it and I shouldn't have, and I don't know why I threw it away. Yeah, I was choking her and you walked in the door and you told me to let her go, and then I told you what she had done to me. And then you don't remember that mom said she saw the letter in Servietta, and it said that had said her stepdad had molested me. You seen it too?
Yeah.
The letter?
Yeah.
Dang. And what did it say? Do you remember?
No me acuerdo que.
Because it was long. That was a long time.
Ahí dije, ya.
It said?
Porque le está escribiendo papá.
Yeah. She was telling her dad he had molested me when she was even there that day. And then mom threw the letter. But I heard my cousin was saying to my sister that I wanted my uncle's cock. How dare you like even say such a thing, you know, when you were there? So for you to start saying all this bullshit, and I'm in shock. I don't know why you would even say that, because you were there that night and you know he did what he did to me. And if you said that he molested you as well, why are you saying stuff like that? I don't get it. But like I said, I know the truth. God knows the truth. And you know it too. For you to be saying such a thing, I don't understand you. And I don't know why you're saying these things now. But for you to try to protect him maybe, or for you not to let your brother know, well, I just want to let you know that I did send him the message of me making the video. And I sent him both of them. He never called me or responded. But I wanted him to know. So if he has any kids or whatever down the road. I want to stress, the reason why I want to stress this to a lot of people is because a lot of people, parents, family, sweep this under the rug and not talk about it. And they don't want to believe kids that are telling them stuff that has happened to them. And it makes it hard because a lot of people don't want to share this with anybody. And they used to go around schools when I was in elementary school, and they would talk about if someone touches you, let a teacher know, let someone know. Well, they stopped doing that. And I always wanted to do that, like to go around schools and talk about stuff like this, because it happens. And when we tell our parents, sometimes our parents don't believe us. Our parents want to sweep it under the rug and not talk about it, or they want to say you provoked the guy to do what he did. And it affects us. I knew of a friend that lived down the street from us as well, and her grandpa molested her as well, and she told her parents, told her grandma, because she lived with her grandma, and her grandma didn't believe her, and she was so hurt about it. She finally moved out, and I seen her at the store one day, and she told me that she hated her grandma, she hated her grandpa, and that if they were even dead, she didn't give an F. Don't call her to the funeral, she could have cared less. So, she doesn't have a relationship with her grandma anymore. My cousins, my dad's brother, their kids got molested by their uncle. They used to cry and tell us that they hated going over there. I think they recently told their parents about it. They don't believe them, either. So my message is for people that have went through this or are going through this or the similar situation, don't give up. Know that you didn't do anything wrong, anything to that guy to do what he has done to you. If your family says it to you or anything, just try to block that out, because it's not right for someone to say that to you. So I had to go to counseling, and my mom and dad told me that I should go to counseling for what my uncle did. So I started going to counseling, and when I was in counseling, they wanted to lock him up. They wanted to know his name, and now I regret it. I regret it now. I wish I would have told him his name and let them do what they needed to do. He needed to be locked up. He needed to be on the news and registered as a sex offender. But like I said, we grew up as a Christian family. You don't do that. You don't have to do that because this is my sister's husband, blah, 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 whatever. So I didn't say anything. I told the counselor what happened. I told her everything he did to me. They let you draw, or they make you draw things, and whatever. So she told me, when I told her that my mom and my aunt were saying I provoked my uncle to do what he did, she told me and advised me that I didn't do anything wrong for this guy to do what he did. She said, even if you would have been touching his penis, even if you would have been groping his penis, he was a grown man over the age of 18. He should have been grabbing your hand and saying, no, we do not play this game. We don't do this. You need to stop. So she told me it was not my fault, and not for me to go around thinking it was my fault, right? And then she wanted his name. I didn't give it to him because, like I said, I was listening to my parents. Do I wish I would have given her his name now? Yes, I do. I wish I would have given her his name, and I wish they would have locked him up. I wish he would have served time for it. I do wish too he would have been on the news and he would have been registered as a sex offender, because what you did to me has affected me, and it's affected me to this day. I'm diagnosed with PTSD. I thought I had to take care of this situation. I thought I had blocked it out of my mind, but I didn't. I let it, I stopped thinking about it for a while, but it came back and it haunted me in 2016 when I got diagnosed with PTSD. And I have another story for you guys coming as well, and letting you guys know about my PTSD and how it affected me and what we were in the process of doing as well. So anyways, I'm gonna jump into, so then I finally knew that I didn't do anything to this sick guy for doing what he did. He's sick. He's a pedophile. You guys are making me out to be you guys out to be the victim when I'm the victim. He hurt me. He messed me up. I still live with it. and live with things to this day. So yeah, you're a pig, you're a dog, you need help. And I did send the video to your son so he can know that you're a sick person, you're disturbed, you need help. Okay, so I'm gonna jump into the story when my aunt got off the phone with my mom. My aunt told us the story, my cousin told us the story. What happened, I guess she got off the phone with my mom and she started beating her husband up. She kept asking him, did you do it? Did you do it? And he denied it. He denied it for a while. And my cousin was there, so my cousin said, yeah, you did, I was there, I heard her screaming, and I went into the room and she was crying and she told me everything you did to her, and she told her mom that he even molested her. He denied doing anything to her. This is what my aunt told us, told me and my mom, and my cousin told us the same story too, because she was there that night. So she beat the shit out of him, she scratched him, she was punching him, she beat him up, she said. And he finally admitted it to my aunt that he did molest me, but not her daughter. And if you guys don't believe this, and I'm talking to your son, if you don't believe this, they were all there. Your mom beat the crap out of him. Your sister knew, she was there that night. Why is she saying things? Why is she saying I wanted his cock? Why she's lying about other things? Why you're even making up a lie saying that we did something to you as well, and that you even wrote your dad a letter in prison? You're sick. You're sick. You're sick. Why you're trying to defend him now? You're sick too. Because if he molested you like you're saying, why would you even say those lies? I don't get it. So yeah, he admitted it to her. So my mom had told us that he admitted it to her, and he admitted he had done it. I found out from some other people that I have talked to, and a person that knows the family as well too, and she said that I could still prosecute him even though it happened in 1991, 92, and I was only 11 or 12 years old. So I told my mom one day, because I hated her so much, like 10 years, I finally forgave my mom. And until I forgave her, I was a better person, you know? And I was like relieved, you know? I could talk to my mom now. I could conversate her. I mean, I can conversate with her now. I can hug her. I can tell her I love her now. But before, no, I couldn't. I even told my mom one day, why do you hate me so much? Like, what's your deal? If you hated me so much, you didn't want me, why did you have me? There was options, abortion, adoption, you know? But my mom said she didn't hate me. Well, I didn't understand it. I thought she did, because why would you do that to a child? So all this affected me. I was a hurting child that hurt other people. I used to fight a lot. If I could get my criminal record, my background, fighting with a family member, I was always getting the cops called on me, you know. I went to jail twice for domestic violence. I went to jail 3 times actually, and I'll talk to you guys about that story as well. But these events that happened in my life, they defined me for a while. They made me an ugly person. I hated life, you know. Now I can smile. I started to know my identity in 2010 maybe, I guess, or 2009, when I finally got away and separated and got a divorce from my ex-husband. But at the time and during, as I was growing up, I didn't know how to deal with certain things. I'd seen a lot of things, you know, where my family always were fighting, yelling, and I thought my way was always hitting, you know. I was malakasha. I had the RBF face, the resting bitch face all the time. I never was happy. I never smiled really. I hated everyone. I hated life. I wanted to be out of this life. And if I would have known what I know now, back in the day they said that if you were to commit suicide you would go straight to hell. So I never succeeded with really trying to kill myself and making me get out of this world. But I've tried, you know. I just never took my life because I was so scared that I would go to hell. I would go around telling people if they were just staring, like, what the F are you staring at? What's your problem? Do you want to solve it? Let's go outside, you know. I was an ugly person. I used to hit my baby daddy, and I started hitting my first husband. So yeah, I'm not proud of these things. I just want to speak about all these things to share with you guys that, you know, what we go through sometimes affects us and it defines us for a while. But I'm happy to say now, you know, I'm not living that life anymore. Cousin, you've listened to these videos already. I don't know what your mom or sister has told you or your dad, but these things really did happen to me. Your dad really did what he did to me. He admitted it to your mom. My mom found that letter in Sovieta, read it. She didn't know whose daughter it was. And when I finally told her, you know, your mom and my mom said I provoked him to do what he did. How can an 11-year-old provoke any man to do sick, disgusting things to them? And if they had their mind and their mind was right, they wouldn't have did that either. They would have said, we don't do these kind of things. Your dad, he's a sick person. I'm sorry that they're telling you lies or telling you not to believe me. It happened. Why she's trying to lie? Maybe she's trying to tell all the family and tell everybody before I even made my videos that he's never done that because they don't want anybody to know that he's a sick person. I don't know, but he's a pedophile. He's a sex offender. He's disgusting. You know, I hate him for what he did to me. I hate him because I still live with it. It still affects me to this day. And I don't want him to do this to anybody else. And a lot of people don't tell people because they're scared. They're scared that their parents aren't going to believe you. I was scared that my parents weren't going to believe me either. But I had to tell them, and I finally told them. And for your mom and for my mom to say what they said, it destroyed me. It killed me inside. I couldn't have a good relationship with my baby daddy. I couldn't have a good relationship with my ex-husband because I always used to be putting my hands on them. No man should ever lay a hand on their women, and no woman should lay their hand on any man. But I didn't know what to do. All I wanted is my mother's love and affection. And I didn't have that. So I hurt inside. I couldn't have a good relationship with my dad. I couldn't hug my dad anymore. I didn't want my dad to be around me. I hated Mexicans for the longest time, and then I had to finally realize that I can't hate Mexicans anymore, because it's not all they're not all pigs, you know. It's been awful. Like I said, I'm scared of men sometimes, you know, where they freak me out. If they start looking at me or staring at me weird, I have to leave because I don't want it to happen to me again, you know. And for anybody to say that young little kids provoke someone, or, you know, the men that actually do the full thing, you know, the 4-letter R word to women, that they wanted it, they provoked the men to do that. No, these people are sick. Men are sick. Some men are sick. They need help. You know, you don't do these things to people. It ruins their lives. It affects their lives forever. You know, we all have to deal with this stuff. And I had to always be on the lookout with my daughter as well while she was growing up, because if anybody were to ever hurt my daughter, you know, molest her or anything, I would have killed someone, because it happened to me and I didn't want it to happen to her, because it's something that I hated living with for all my life. So I just want to close this video right now, and I just want to tell anybody that's going through this, I don't know how young you are, I don't know how old you are, if you went through the same thing, please tell someone, talk to someone, go to counseling, you know. And if your parents don't believe you, if they say you provoked them or you did something for this person to do what he did, I just ask that you talk to someone, talk to your best friend, talk to a counselor, tell someone at school, tell someone somewhere. You speak up. And even after you tell them, and if they're saying things like that, just always remember, you didn't do nothing to deserve what that person has done to you. You didn't provoke him, nothing. I just want to tell you guys, thank you. I'm studying for state boards right now and trying to study for my theory test as well. Trying to get my license here soon. So if I'm trying my best to get videos out as well. I'm also doing makeup tutorials as well. Got this little sheer bracelet, little sheer earrings, and my nails are bandanas. So anyways, thank you guys for sticking to the end. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you for the love and support. Remember, te amo muchísimo.